All right. Okay. So hi everybody again. I really hope you can hear me. MTN. I really
Hello,
really hope you. But hi
hello, hello.
everyone. Welcome to
Hi.
another episode of our in-house talk show. As we all know, Valentine's Day is on Tuesday. Whoop 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 whoop. And while some of us are going to be spending it submitting assignments and reading our books and stuff, the rest of us are going to be going on fancy dates and all of that. But yeah, we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about,
I mean,
love
the
and
way you
everything
raised
in
that last
between
part, yeah.
on this episode.
You lost it to that. It's
So, a lot of us are going to be shouting God when, because of all the tensioning that will go on the internet on that day.
I tell
But
you,
I won't be
pressure.
online. So, the people that are going to be online, I wish you guys luck, but not me,
Why
Sha.
not?
Because,
Where would you
yeah.
be?
But anywho, so let me start with
Hello, can you hear
I
me?
beg, I don't want to be tension, please. Nigeria has had enough. No fuel, no cash. Nobody should come and
it,
tension
it
me
it
unnecessarily.
doesn't
Shop
mean
block.
no, come online and share the
Anywho,
love
so I'm
experience.
going to start my first question. Sha, please, after Valentine's Day, remember that we have elections. We have our lives to fight for. So let's know
That's
if this Valentine's Day will equal breakfast in disguise or, would really have more reason to celebrate down the line.
so yeah, basically today we're going to talk about relationship, I be love in Nigeria, and we'll just be discussing how like it has evolved, basically the transition of loves across like school, like when you're in primary school, as a secondary school, university, and then like when you're working. We're also going to be talking about like love in this generation versus love in our parents' generation, and then basically talking about what we are going to be looking for, or what you precisely, right, like to look for in somebody, so that maybe you don't know, you can make sure to your show, so you are talking in this podcast now, you never know. um
All right. So I'm going to start with Musa, actually. Hi, Musa. How are you doing? Again.
yeah, I'm fine, no. I'm fine.
Okay, so what are you going to be doing on Valentine's Day?
What I always do,
Which is,
survive.
I don't even know if I will talk. which can answer with that?
But if
Survive.
Papa
What do
is
you
a
mean
normal
survive?
day.
Like, because you mean like people will be tensioning you or what? Why are you
Yeah,
trying to
all
survive?
those things. Now them sabi o. Now them sabi.
why they form hard guy
Hey,
here. Yeah. That was a
I
form
don't.
hard
Abi,
guy.
yo.
They found hard to get, Abby.
I don't know. Oh God.
I beg, go sit down, Joe.
You know the funny thing. The problem is that like I'm filled with most of my no, a lot of my friends are bachelors, so I have a good congregation around me, so I don't even get exposed to that kind of thing. It's not that in your face. Is if I have to look for it, I will not go and find it, but it's not directly connected to me.
So will you be looking for it?
Why? Why you oppress yourself?
Okay, great. So my question to you is, Musa, do you remember the name of your first crush ever?
Hmm. I mean, hey, I don't remember her name, but I think I remember her.
Ha!
Um,
How would you remember the name of your first crush?
Nah, like no,
How,
it
guy?
was no. But see. I had a lot of transitions in my life, so it was like keeping names. Like my memory just blipped at a point, and I forgot a lot of people. But like I remember like the person. I remember why. I remember it was primary three.
wow.
Primary three. Primary three.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Ishaya's class. My classmates know who that is. Right. Thank God I'm not the question. So, Kenneth, what will you be doing on the 14th of February?
What's your favorite? What do I be doing? Well, I'll be making money. Making money, normal.
Get it.
I'm making money.
After my marriage, I go follow you, make you show me that way.
Now Musa they follow. Musa na my boss. I did behind them.
Now this guy, Zunji, now this kind of guy is a cost inflation for Nigeria.
I beg you. I'll be making money, sharing love with my family, my mom, and everybody.
No, if they try do homeboy now,
no more now, mommy's love first now, mommy's love.
Me woman no hear you first. You think you be that kind of boy. Is that how mommy?
No, don't be such that. But your mother is always first now. But I beg, there's no woman now. Even though there was any woman, I beg, women, all of them, right now, don't be the way not to, make your money, focus on yourself. So
this is a very interesting thing you just said here, right? I will get to it later.
Self-love.
This self-love or money love now? I don't know.
Money love.
No, I have to decipher. But anyway, this yarn will keep you for later. So yeah, as Ami has asked already, when was your first crush?
My first crush? Can I remember? I don't have crush since. So.
You now came and said nonsense to me that I can't remember.
Wait, I don't understand. You say you cannot remember.
Yes, no, I don't have crush since.
He said I don't have crush since.
No, I've been crushing since.
They give Yoruba
Wait, let me try to remember. I think it was in primary 1 bar. Primary 1 like that.
Primary 1.
Where you don't crush?
There was no crush. I was just admiring the girl. I think so. Nothing serious.
Hey.
Just admire. But me, I'm actually someone, but I listen.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Me, I'm actually someone about that. I can, let's say, admire someone for just a short time. Not as if it's like it's not as if like a crush or I want to ask you out, or just like an admire. Before I know it's already gone. Someone like me, it's hard for me to fall in love. Maybe I can just admire you from a distance for just a short time, then just there. So I used to admire a lot of people, but I say I really used to crush them. I don't really crush anybody.
Oh, this hard guy. Oh, yeah.
May your case make be like the band show. Band say you don't make me fall in love.
No, but it doesn't mean I'm never falling in love, Sha. Doesn't mean I'm never falling in love. I think I fall in love once. But this kind of thing, people like me have noticed if we fall in love or more, it really is deep.
That kind of thing. And if they break on a heart, they deep. God, that kind of thing.
It is deep. So I me at times I used to be conscious.
I like you chop breakfast too.
I mean talk say me no become say you chop breakfast too.
I fell in love once now, but waiting happened. I chop breakfast. I no chop breakfast, so. But it shall work out. So then I say make I focus on myself.
Make I quote Ira Star for a song Karma. She say, "You want the form hard guy where you know what's up. If you know the right person, you know the form hard guy. Just don't do that.
Not so.
Anyways, let's just go to Zunji for a minute. No, let's wait for Zunji. Zunji is a special case today. Let me ask Ami. Ami, when was your first of all? What are you going to be doing on 14th of February?
When am I going to be doing? I have class. So after class, like say I have assignment. So
why you try dodge this thing? No, they dodge them.
You
No, I'm
can
going to
do
be in class.
assignment anytime. You can do
Give her.
assignment anytime.
I've
She
left
just
love. I've
she
left
dey
love
try.
for you.
Even for nights. For what?
And
I'm
do you know
focusing on
about
my. I've
the
left
funny
love for
thing?
you guys.
Now, so the funny thing about you're in school. That's when you go even see her well. Do you know? You're in school. Assuming we now that we are at home now, we can just say we want to go offline. But you're in school, so how are you going to, deal with your pressure?
Well, God go help us. He can choose. In the words of Aristotle, 53 BC, nobody can make you feel inferior without a small friend. So I'm going to be focusing on my books, on my assignment, and on God.
Okay.
Finish.
Okay. What if that guy that has been admiring you comes and asks you out for vow? No.
The guy has finally summoned the courage.
Exactly.
Ah,
Just
first
say,
of all,
let me use it.
Kenneth,
Bow
That
down.
I
day
promise
that you
you, there's no such thing.
What do you say?
There's no such thing, no. I'm telling you people.
How you like this?
That's why, you see, I'm living vicariously from everybody's life. People that have vows, I know, I'm always very happy for them. You know why? Because that's not my case. So it's very easy to be like, oh, this is so nice when you don't have a similar situation. So that's why I need you guys to do quick and just, I don't know, Musa, for instance.
This was supposed to This was supposed to be a very happy, but it's like this sounds sad. Like what kind of sad stories are we yarning here today?
Wait, let me answer the question you asked me. So I asked me when was my first crush, Abby. I think it was primary 5. To be honest, it was my home economics teacher, Mrs. George. I cannot forget that woman in my life. She wanted to form like, oh, she's a cool teacher. And like, can always walk up to her and tell her anything.
For a second, I thought you said you were crushing your female teacher. I was like, eh?
I thought it was female to I heard. It's not female.
Like, bro, I was like,
I beg you.
Go ahead, right on.
I beg you. So she was like this. She wanted to be this cool teacher who was like, it's okay if you like a boy, blah 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 blah. So one day in one of our home economics classes, she was asking everybody around in the whole class, like, who's your crush? I think we were about like 17 of us. So she went round and everybody was giving answers. Like she asked, somebody would say, oh, this is my crush. So when it got to me, to be honest, I didn't have a crush, but I just felt like I had to answer her. So it would not be like, oh, everybody else answered and I did not answer. Because to be honest, I felt like all the boys in my class were very, very foolish. Like they just used to play rough, they would fly their shirts and just be rascals. So I didn't really have one. But I just had to answer her like, oh, this is my crush. And then after the class, this boy now came. He was like, oh, I did not know, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I actually like it too, and all those kind of things. And I was like, oh, well, I cannot lie now because I've already told the whole class that I have a crush on you. So, I mean, let's just go with it, I guess. But it never really materialized because we're still young. We did not know what we were doing. I think in my own opinion, or in my head, I felt like crush was like, oh, very close friends or like besties or something. So we became like really good friends after that for some weird reason. I think I don't know if that qualifies, but that's the like closest thing I had to a first crush, I guess. Oh, but my first actual actor crush was a celebrity crush, honestly. I was watching a movie. I think I was like 13 or something. And it was Majid Michel. And I'm like, oh, this person is very fine. And I went on his social media and started stalking him. Yeah, that's it. That has to be it.
Wow.
So you're a stalker.
Yeah, so I can be a stalker.
Majid like this.
If it is.
Yeah,
but if it's celebrity crush, a lot of us have had celebrity crush. That we're talking about that one.
I think I was one of the people that prayed that Genevieve Nnaji should not marry, that she should wait, so that when I go, I'll marry her. I was like,
did you say Genevieve?
I said, may she not marry. let her wait for me. So when I grow up, I have money that time. I'll be a musician.
Is that a prayer? Because
I don't know. I was very small. I was also a young guy. So you know what I now when she trend now Nigerian film. Everybody was asking me to announce.
Not true. My own celebrity, Nigerian celebrity crush is in Edo.
No.
Why they call my name?
That's it.
In Edo.
Which film will you watch?
Which film? I don't watch in Edo movies since so. In Edo, I don't crush her since. If I see her now, I go feel marry her. Forget.
Okay. Voila. All right. Going to Zumji, what are you going to be doing on the 14th of February?
On that day, I'll be running around with my wife. We'll be running around.
I just have to put the effect.
I believe on that day we'll be running around to see how we can meet up with some married stuffs. Then maybe towards the evening like this time, I'll just stop and buy one chicken for at Old Airport Junction in Jos, I got it.
So romantic. God, where?
Like I said.
Choke. Hi. God go down for us. Musa,
let them call my name. I don't want to prayer. I don't want. Kenneth, if you want for yourself,
God go down for us,
claim it for you. I don't want.
Wait. But Musa, don't you want to marry? Don't you want to fall in love?
See, my brother, this question, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, let's finish this podcast first.
Yeah, so.
Musa, what do you mean you don't know? I don't.
Hey God.
That's what I say.
Who was your first crush?
Okay, when you guys were talking, I was trying to remember, and I remember it was in primary 3. Her name was Chidima. Chidima was very intelligent and fine like this, one Igbo girl. Then she had one kind of eyes like this, and if she looked you, she just melts. So I was like, and then she was very smart.
Yeah, this is very tough.
And then she not tell us. If my wife there, she could join the laugh. They even talk self. That one. If you see that me, I had the gossip about one fine lady the pastor. See,
hey, I beg.
Don't marry your best friend.
So I think that's like I remember because the lady was very smart.
Don't kill me, I beg.
So that was my first crush.
All right. Okay, so going forward, I mean, do you want to hijack back your hostingship? I'm using it now.
Yeah, I'm hoping that MTN really allows me to have breathing space. But yeah, let me see just how far I can go before call it a day. All right. So the next question that I have to ask, I'm going to start from Kenneth actually for this one. So Kenneth, how do you feel like you transitioned in terms of like feelings for someone, like in terms of getting attracted to people? Like what has changed? Has anything changed, like in particular from let's say secondary school to now that you're in university and just like in general? Like how do you feel like you transitioned, like in terms of getting attracted to someone? Are the things that you looked out for, have they changed over time, or like just discussion?
Yeah, I get. Actually, things have really, really changed from my 100 level to like now, because I'm like my 500 level. So things have changed because I already said I don't really crush or fall in love with people. Maybe I can just admire you for a short period of time. So if I used to admire people, maybe I'll just admire them from their looks. Then I didn't really look at character. Just from their looks, from how their body, everything like that. So then from there now it now transitions to more of your character, your intelligence. So I think it transitioned to there. Then from then now in my university, when everybody started focusing more on their life, their growth, I now figured out that other things you should look at when you probably you're looking to like crush or fall in love. How driven the girl is, her focus, if she sees beyond where she is now, so many other things that made me to that I used to look out for to crush or love somebody. So yeah, that's how my tradition has gone so far.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, I'll ask Musa now. Musa, yeah.
Can you repeat the question again exactly?
So how have you transitioned in terms of love and like attraction to people from like secondary school to uni till now? Has anything changed? And if yes, what has changed?
First of all, like I've never been in a relationship. Let's start with that. I don't trouble.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I've never been in a relationship.
What?
So in the actual question, I don't know. I can't answer your question, right? I mean, you don't get sense.
But it's not possible now. You can't tell me I've never fallen.
What are you saying, Kenneth? Were we not in the same school? What are you saying?
No, now chill. Forget. No, now forget being dating someone, but doesn't mean you've never like crushed someone or at least taken some time to admire someone.
That can sing very well.
They get there now. So
now, so if you're going to admire someone or at least crush someone, what do you look at in the person? What brings that admiration? So that's what we are asking.
First of all, if I talk it's the exposure, right? But I'll just say, like, personally, for me, I think I'll just say the transition. First of all, I actually did not care, honestly speaking, like up until university, I would say, right? You would just really, I was that kind of guy that just really focused on his books, honestly speaking. Like, it was sports or book all the time.
Musa like sports, Jesus.
So it was either these two at all times. If I know they play ball, they run at their class, they jack. I think like that distracted me. I believe that focused me, depending on which framework we want to use. But then university, obviously, it's kind of the same thing. I was less on sports though. But then I think I just realized, you realize yourself, I'll say. And I think everybody just tends to discover like what love is and is not for them as they grow. But at the same time, right, it's such a tricky thing because what you think is love to you, you just need like more time to realize that thing was nonsense. Right. So that's a transition so far. Like, honestly, wasn't that focused with it. Obviously, everybody has like crushes and whatever, right? I think first of all, if you don't like, I think it's not possible. Anyways, let me not generalize, but like, I think we over crush. Like, you look at somebody that in your class that is fine, boom, you over crush. Like, you crush on that one, and that one will come, boom, you crush again, right? So as human beings, we will over crush. Even married people, they over crush, right? So that question is not for me a criteria at all. At the end of the day, but then when it comes to my personal transition, I've just seen that the definition of love has changed. That's what I've noticed. Like what I understood as love.
That is nice,
Yeah,
nice,
that
nice.
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, we will like definitely still, we'll definitely still get to like what everybody sees like love and stuff to be at the end of this podcast episode. But I want to just ask Zoomji, how about you? Like, what has
Okay.
changed? How have you transitioned? Has
Uh,
anything changed? And if yes, what has changed?
for me, secondary school was the looks, the smartness, the intelligence. Then moved down to university. Um, you know, you know, in university, if you thought you have seen fine girls in secondary school, wait till you get to university, that kind of thing. So it was that drive also. But along the line, I knew that something was just not okay with my kind of spec thing. And it was my university days. I found God and I discovered that okay, there's a reason why God created me. There's a purpose. So this lady has she discovered a purpose? So it's like my first question to any lady. And so funny enough, for someone like me, just for you guys to know, the lady I'm about to marry was my junior in secondary school. I was in SS3, she was in SS2. So we were just friends, and she didn't even like me because she said I was a head boy and I was wicked. So I was always fun. I slapped her on
Luigi,
and
your
stuff.
head
She said, "Which
boy.
kind I did head boy there,
Oh boy.
St. John's College, just so so I didn't even know that so it was after 8 years we now met, me and her. You could imagine how God just does this thing. So I know that the transition has been seeking for purpose, vision, what drives you, like Kenneth said, what drives you. Then not even talking about I have a purpose, I have a vision. So who can help me? Who can marry together? Who can join me in fulfilling the purpose for which I was created? So my mind, there was this, peeling off gradually, peeling off. Before it was looks, it was smartness, but now it's purpose. So that's how my transition has been.
That is nice, nice, nice.
Okay. Interesting. I want to know, like, when Ami comes back, don't worry, we'll ask her. Going to the next question, like I think that is here, was basically on, for example, Zunji. How, first of all, like in Jos, right? I think the cultures. I want to like get the cultural understanding first of all. You said
Yeah.
Jos and whatnot, right? And university too, Abi.
Yeah. Although I schooled in Futmina. So
You and Kenneth, see your alumni.
Yeah.
now Futmina Kennedy.
Now put an idea now. You know, Sabi.
Which course?
I did 500 now, electrical.
The electrical I finished now. 215. Elect. I finished 215
Okay.
elect.
Okay.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, like, I would like to know the cultural differences. I would say, like, in relationships. So, what have you noticed, probably like in the north, or just to bring it down, in Jos or Plateau, right? How is relationship like? Is it very conservative in the sense of affections is shown indoors, right? Do they openly, say words of affirmations and all of that, right, in Plateau states, right? How do you think it is? Do you think there are differences between even people in like Jos residents or people in Plateau, in sense
Okay.
based on religion? But I just want to know like cultural differences, and then I'll go to Kenneth.
I didn't get the question. Sorry, could you repeat yourself, Mister?
Yeah, so it's basically about the cultural differences of how we perceive or understand relationships, like romantic relationships, where you come from. Like it can be even based on maybe personal experience or based on people that you know or your even your own family or what. I just want to understand, like from your own states?
Okay, so here in Plateau, love and affection is very conservative. You could hear parents sometimes telling their children, especially the female ones, that if your boy touch you, you get pregnant. Just touch you. That kind of thing. So that was so you could imagine maybe going for Sunday school
But don't
practice
because 600
sometime.
million now.
Yeah, that's so that kind of thing. That maybe you're practicing for one Sunday school day. And maybe I'm trying to talk from experience, and you're practicing for a choreography, and then you guys are supposed to hold your hands in choreography like that. The lady will not be. They're holding your hands and like, this is why really holding my hand, like. Like, so it's actually conservative. Then, parents showing affection, let's say mom and dad like that, or it's quite very, very conservative. But I now notice that now it's more open. I think because of the civilization, or because of the things have evolved, as regard to internet, social media, television, what we watch, like that. So you now see a guy, holding a babe like that, or so it's actually conservative for a while. But now, if you walk around the street, you can see. Today is Sunday. You'll be so shocked what you see, Then talk about religion. Christians, especially the Orthodox, they see a lot of things as bad. Like I grew up from an Orthodox background, then transition to a Pentecostal church where they can just tell you, hug yourself, why not greet your neighbor? The church I went to today for service, if you see the way they sit down, okay, you can't even do anyhow. So I think it also has that kind of lines they draw also have a way of affecting their affections and their how they express that. And so you just see, like today, one of the reverend that came when he wanted to introduce his wife. I know in a normal Pentecostal church, the pastor might just meet my beautiful wife. I didn't come here alone. I came with my beautiful wife, like this. But the Orthodox just say, I came with the mother of my children, the one who owns my room. She's here, right? She's here. She's just here.
It sounds like container.
It is. You understand?
It's like the container.
Hey, you understand that kind of thing? But you see, but when you come indoors, probably you are very close to that particular family or that house. You might see affections for those fathers who are actually educated or a little bit relaxed to an extent. So yeah, it's a little bit. I know some of those things even affected my brain. So you cannot just all the bad things I did was at night. John fence, because if my mother catch you, impregnate, just walk in the area, sir. That kind of thing. So no matter how I did all my love this thing, you can't follow me to my house. You can't. It will end by the gate, and I have to tell you go. That kind of thing. Can't carry someone and come home.
And this is not head boy.
So it was later on after I finished secondary school. Then that kind of reunion stuff now. That way you did where So I came back because God help when I finished secondary school. Immediately God, I just got admission. So I came back. And my friends came to me. So the female ones came around, and like 3-5. Now after secondary school, some people like at that time they find me more. During secondary school, they find you, but after secondary school, they don't do shopping. So my mom was like, she now asked my sister, that is Zumji dating any of these ones? Any of these 3? Any of them? So today she's asking herself, say, I beg you, let them just leave. So you can imagine. Thank you. Get over to you.
Calm down. Can we just talk about how Nigerian, like, it's so funny. Nigerian parents expect you to, for 20 years, don't think about relationship. Then they give you the grace of 2 years or 1 year So go and learn all you can learn and bring your husband or wife.
As you imagine that.
Like,
So now at this my own age now, it was, I think I came back one time, then my mom okay, when I came and I said, I think I found a wife to marry. If you see this thing, like, hey, they have been waiting. Me, I've just been forming pastor. They have been waiting. I say, so but why are you making this sound? See, that time it was not ready. I was not ready or something. Now like this, as if I'm getting older too much. So the Nigerian parents now.
all right. We'll go to Kenneth and then we'll come back to Ami. Kelzy.
Yeah,
Kelzy, what state are you from again, sir?
I'm from Delta.
Okay, yeah. So how are they doing for that side?
So basically, if you ask me how they do it in my side, I don't really know because I'm not someone that grew up there.
Okay.
Hello?
Where
Yeah.
you grew up in Abuja, I guess then.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so you to be Ariwa now.
Yes, no.
Yeah. So basically, from like what you're saying, right? How is relationship like? Like, how did you grow up to understand relationship?
Me, I grew up to understand it as the normal way that everybody sees it. Sharing love and compassion. Nothing complex.
Okay.
Yeah. Me, I don't know how to make things look complex. I just say it's so simple, Being so affectionate, everything just compassion and all.
Nice.
I'm this kind of this carefree person, so that's it.
Okay. We're going back to Ami now, and what was the question that we were asked that Ami was not here to answer? Can you guys remember?
I think it's the same. It's this question you just asked now.
No, before that one.
Transition.
Exactly. So, Ami, answer transition first before I ask you the new question.
To be honest, I've never really been like into all of that. I think because I'm anybody who, like, if you know me or you've met me or you've been around me, like, you know that I'm a tomboy essentially, or I tend towards tomboy lifestyle. So like I really just saw all of them as my guys, if that makes sense, for the longest of times, right? So yeah, so that there was that from like secondary, school and stuff. Then I think uni was when obviously as I grew and like came to understand stuff, and started to know God more apparently. I think for me, my idea of like compatibility, really changed. My idea of like qualities or characteristics, as it were, that someone should have, that changed as well. And just my entire outlook on like love in itself as a topic, as a concept, I think it really just changed. I like came to understand a whole lot of things better. I came to see things in a different light. Understanding that feelings are just like 0.01% of like what makes up or what contributes to like a healthy like relationship or marriage, as it were. So I think for me it would just definitely be the fact that my understanding of things changed, and obviously I started paying attention to just dynamics in my parents' marriage, in other people's marriages, and I just started to like learn some things here and there and pick up some things, determine to work on myself regarding some areas, determining to also just be aware, and to just intentionally choose to, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this better, I'm going to do this better, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to start doing this. So all in all, I think it just there's just been a lot of intentionality on my end. Yeah. That's I think that's what that would be it for me.
Okay. Interesting. Can I talk to you, baby guys?
Now waiting, you say no. She didn't take everybody as guys. As
All right. Ami, take back your position.
Oh yeah, now. Okay. Let me ask. I think I'll ask Zumji actually. So Zumji, what do you think is the difference between love in this present generation and love in our parents' generation? So everybody will answer obviously, but I want Zumji to go first.
Okay. Love in the past for our parents was more of let's say, what will I say, achievement, what okay, I'm looking at it from what actually made our parents fall in love with each other. It was like, this man is a school teacher, and he's nice. In the community, he's one of the people that has gone to school in the entire community. I like him. Or this lady in this whole community is one of the ladies that she's hardworking. Those kind of things were the things that made our parents fall in love. And she's hardworking. I know it was not just looking at the lady, but maybe looking at the entire household. You see, from this house, all of them are like this. That kind of recommendation from this house. All of them, the ladies are very, well respected. So that was the thing that pushed them to love. And then if they eventually probably some who didn't meet at the community level, probably office, or that those days there was places like teachers college, civil service work. They met in working place. You could see that there was a drive for this guy. He seems like a good man. But in our days now, a lot of people fall in love for so many things. It's like the variables have increased. Some people could be for money, this guy Hope Brown. Some people could just be, man, this baby's beautiful. God, as if they give her to her on a Sunday, Monday, created her on Sunday. It could just be, this lady is very smart. I like the way she talks. She's in law department, like that. You could just see a lot of variables like that. And if you check, you will now find out that as much as these variables are plenty, some of them are actually not things you can lay hold on. Because if the reason why you fell in love with a guy is because he has money, and eventually you guys end up being together and discover that this guy has money, but there's a deficit of character, or he has pride. So it's as if some people see some things, like the tushness, and then when they get to the marriage, go and discover something, and they're like, but I never met him like this. I never met her like that. And that's the reason for this so much this truckload of divorce we are seeing today. So there's quite a long, a large bridge between the old and new. Thank you.
I mean, that was very. I feel very like wise just having heard like your opinion. I don't know how to explain it. Oh my god! I mean, I actually agree. I totally agree. God, a person this generation of ours. All right, Kenneth. What do you think is the major difference, or what are the major differences between love in their time versus love in our time?
Well, basically, Zumji has said it all. And again, most of us we won't really can tell for sure how it was then. It's just all from what we have heard and the involvement that we have seen. So because obviously nobody was there with them when they fell in love and what actually made them fall in love. But from the little things that we know and we knew then, things were not that developed like how it is now. Most of them fell in love due to probably they saw potential in the other person. So the person was hardworking. So that was the major thing that made people fall in love. Unlike now that there are many other things. First, most times it's money now. That's in this our generation. Most people look at money. They don't look at potential. They don't look at what you can become in the nearest future. Most people, then some people can, they can date someone, they can marry, even though the person has not made it, the person doesn't have money or anything. But then they know that once two of them are together, they can make things work out. But now in our generation, if you broke, if you no get shishi guy, they will marry you. It's just so much.
Everybody now is saying, if you don't have money, hide your face.
Yes.
Shakespeare, the video.
So our generation, they don't believe that, if you guys marry, it's just few people that have that mindset. Everyone wants that you would have made it and all. And most times now they leave that aspect to the men. I don't know if that's how it was back in the days, but I don't believe I felt that it was a two-way thing. The woman has to be working too, the man too has to be working. But right now our generation, it's mostly the men. Just few of them now that are doing the feminism power or whatever they used to call it. So, but yeah, that's it. Just to add to what Zunjia said.
Yeah. So I mean the emergence of like different new ideologies like feminism. I will not say the emergence because these things have always been in existence. They only just began to come to light in this generation. Yeah. Like the the emphasis, let me say, on like this new ideology like so there's the like to be honest, I personally it was only like when I opened a Twitter account and started really like focusing and not focusing but really learning from Twitter threads and stuff that I realized, okay, there's actually the dynamic where a girl is like overly dependent on a guy and sees it as a guy's responsibility to buy her stuff and pay her bills even though they are not married, right? So that's one end of the divide. The other end is like, it's actually possible for a guy to be misogynistic and be like, you know what, only a woman is expected to cook, only a woman is expected to do, only a woman is expected to be domesticated and all of that. So I didn't really, because I mean, looking at the marriages of older generations, I feel like to an extent they didn't really like, either they didn't know about these things or they didn't care. Like most of the people I know, the man has accepted that he's the primary provider to an extent, right? Or let me say, there's no force, like there's no big deal about it, right? It just comes naturally to them, like, the woman is expected to take care of the kids and cook.
Natural leadership. The man knows he's supposed to. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But now in this generation, there's like, you know what? If a woman cannot, I can't marry her. Or if a man can, like, why would I have a boyfriend or a partner who cannot pay my hair bills? Or like, I was literally listening to a conversation, a real life conversation where two girls were talking in my school, right? And the first lady was talking about like, she needs to make her hair, she needs to get her hair done and stuff. And then the other lady was like, okay, so why do you have your boyfriend then? Like, what's his usefulness or what's his use if he can't pay for your hair bills or for your like, your nails or your lashes or whatever? And like, it really got me thinking like, wow, I don't know for sure that this existed back in the day. I mean, obviously the man will feel compelled or feel like responsible to, give gifts, occasionally offer to pay for stuff, but not like the ladies will now feel entitled to the man's money. So I feel like all of this, and then with the rise of social media, they just the whole, it's just a lot, really. I feel like our parents had it simpler then. Everybody's now very woke. Everybody's now very aware, like, okay, I don't, this is the standard I have, these are the requirements I have. If you don't meet these requirements, there's no chance, we don't have a chance, da 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 da. So personally, I think I would say it's just wokeness, which is good because with the understanding that we have or that I have, I realize that okay, you know what, some of the things that the older generation endured or some of the things that they considered normal are actually abnormal. Domestic violence is not normal, no matter how they've made it seem like, oh, you know what, I mean, if a woman misbehaves, her husband can like discipline her stuff. That's absolutely abnormal. You
Yeah.
know, cheating, right? The other generation will maintain that all men are polygamous in nature. That's crap, right? So there's a good part that has helped us like shine light on some of the abnormal practices, right? However, there are also the parts where it's like, okay, why are you feeling entitled to this person's money? Or why do you feel like the only usefulness of a wife is for domestic chores and all? So for me, I would say it's just the emphasis on these ideologies on wokeness that differentiates like love now from love then. So yeah, I think that's my
That's
take. Musa,
yeah,
what do you
yeah,
think?
makes sense.
Yeah, thank you, Kenneth. Musa, what do you think?
I mean, don't give us master's thesis.
Musa was
I
just
beg you.
Musa was just writing.
Who's
You have to jot things down, take things.
Please.
um, See, I always feel like, first of all, let's just acknowledge that like things are just different. Like things are different everywhere. Like in everything and everywhere, things are different. But like the difficulties that you have to maintain the same standards for marriage to work. I agree with Ami that to an extent. I mean, where it depends how you're looking at it, right? So was it easier for them? Depends what you are looking at, it might be easier, right? I mean, I think what they got right, or what I think they got right, is that in a relationship, just define what is the function of each person. Like, I think is important to okay, because if you don't, right, there's an internal battle and struggle that will take place, which is can result to toxic and very nasty things at the end of the day. But I think for their generation, it's like, okay, I'm going to work, you raise the children, right? Or I will raise the children and then you will work. Or like 25% of the time, right, you work. There was just this agreement, right? I understand and I agree that like a lot of the practices were overstretched and extreme. But I think overall, like if there's anything I really like about that generation is that to that extent, right, things were defined. In our generation, I think that because there's so many options. First of all, in the actual sense of it, like we are more human beings, so there are actually like more options in reality, right? Like when you look at the surface level, but then of course, depending on what you're looking for in a person, I think it's going to differ. And maybe the options might be slimmer at the end of the day. So we are in a different world in the sense that there are more people populated, therefore more options here, right? And I think just because of the amount of exposure that we have, once you begin to lose self-control, you will even know how to choose. That's just the honest truth, right? Because the thing you think that you are using to choose, like the criteria or whatever, right, is skewed because your overexposure, maybe like to emotions, maybe to pleasures, maybe like to temptations, right? They're just different things. Like your overexposure, I think in our generation, like, is the main reason why a lot of people can't be committed. Like, there are a lot of people that they'll like that they'll divorce. I mean, I was just actually checking as you were talking. I mean, like the official divorce rate in Nigeria. The National Bureau of Statistics is saying 0.2. I believe that's a lie. Like, okay, let me not say it's a lie, it's official statistic, but I don't think that is true. That was in 2016, by the way. But like I think today you hear more and more divorce rates than in our parents' generation. Now, what are the factors that like are causing this? I mean, there are different things, right? Obviously, women in the past, right, even though sadly a lot of the times, right, enjoyed a lot. I think some of those women should not have enjoyed what they endured, and maybe that's why there's more divorce rate now. But I think on the other thing, it's just the actual truth. Like money is a big issue in marriage. If you don't get money, like how do you want it to, like, you can't survive. Like that's just the basic thing. We underestimate the role that money has in sustaining marriage. I think that having not enough money is actually better than having too much money in a marriage, even though like in a lot of Nigerians are going for having too much money. I think depending on the way you play it, right? If you start a relationship, with the idea and the focus, right? Because like both of you just have to focus. You guys are now a team, you're a vision. You have your own, if you like, your own business company is your marriage, right? How can you take this business company or this marriage to a place, quote unquote, that can become profitable, right? And then you start thinking. If you go from the other spectrum, however, which is what like a lot of people in our generation want, you want to start from like everything chill. First of all, is everything chill. How do you learn to grow into each other, right? If everything is so easy, how do you even understand? How do you get to the point whereby you see the person's weaknesses and the person's like love or whatever? Because with too much money, what it does is that it allows you to get anything you want, and allows you to do anything you want to do, right? And like the emotional needs that are so key for relationships are normally void in relationships that it's mainly rich. So like if you start mainly rich, there might be problems. But I think like if you start at the point whereby both of you get your way out, like both of you decide to focus your way out of like poverty or predicaments or financial stress or whatever, right? I think it would be much more rich. I think a lot of people just don't have that patience, I guess, to withstand what it requires, I would say, right, to get to that point. Those the divorce rates, those like the beatings, those like the abuses, the rapes, and whatever, right? But I think money is a big factor in our generation. Like a lot of people don't want to get married. Like they're not even thinking about it because of cash. Like some people are like, I want like I make the money first, right? Which I think like honestly, I think it would defeat it, because once you make the money, imagine a bro that actually makes the money. Let's say a guy, you make 5k, right, dollars. You get to that point and you're making 5k dollars. You're earning like $60,000 a year. Do you think with your mind that you'll be faithful to that person? Like you as a human being, think of it. Like the amount, except you're an extremely rare human being, right? The chances that you will not be faithful to that person. That's the truth. So I'll go the other opposite way and say that, if you really want to, enter this thing and start this thing, probably the best route is to go and start building with somebody from your lowest point, at least from the point where you are today, because that will allow two of you to actually like solidify something much more stronger. Sorry guys for that background. Much more stronger within the relationship that I think a lot of our generational like colleagues are missing.
You just dey go. I've been
Your
jotting.
own na for PhD now, you understand? I want a master's, you want a PhD.
I've been jotting a lot.
So Musami, I have like a follow-up question for you, Musa, right? Do you feel like first of all, I just want to say, if you say, oh, you want to make enough money, blah blah blah, you can never have enough money. You know what I mean? Like you keep wanting more money, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to say that. But obviously there's like a certain amount that you should aspire to have before venturing into like relationships or marriage, as a matter of fact. So Musa, my question to you goes thus. Do you feel like people who like people in our parents' generations, right? Do you feel like they might have endured things that they were not supposed to endure, all in the name of keeping their marriage together? And secondly, do you also feel like we like okay, so it's a very multifaceted question. Do you also feel like this generation we lack, or what do you think about us lacking the ability to like still stay in the face of adversity in marriage? And what would you classify adversity in marriage? It be like I don't they ask you too many questions, but let me
Questions
try,
too.
Sha.
Okay.
Choke am.
First of all, just disclaimer, I'm not married. I don't even get paid. So, like, I beg you. I don't go form all those guys who go internet, they talk. But this is my opinion based on observation and like just basic knowledge from reading and whatever. This is what I would say and my understanding. Because I'm very much interested in our generation. I'm very much interested in like how we relate emotionally with one another, and I'm very much interested in like how other previous generations did it as well, right? Okay, this is a tricky thing because I think the past generation's greatest strength is their greatest weakness, and our generation's greatest strength is also our greatest weakness, in the sense that what made them stay in a relationship, right? Like that commitment is such a big strength, right? But I think mostly the men abused it. I think that was the problem. You had this beautiful thing, like for someone to commit to you after the damage that you can do to that person, right? Like you don't joke with it at the end of the day. What do I think is like if I'm to create a paradigm, I just think that's why I think it's necessary to really understand what you're getting. So just like you can't use this one she said to or all these kind of things, right? To go and like try and marry somebody, right? At least if some people start with the option of divorce, which I think needs to be questioned. Like if I'm starting with the intention of divorcing you, like why am I doing it in the first place? As well just remain partners at the end of the day, or just be cutting and dating, right? But then going that full extent, I think I think for me the balance is you just have to understand that it's like a life project. As I said, using the business example, when you go into it with somebody that it's a life project, you won't go and do business with somebody that does not understand the business. Like a carpenter will not go and meet a tech bro. Like what are they doing together? Don't have nothing to do together. A carpenter will go and look for somebody, right? Maybe a business administrator, a financial accountant, because it's compatible, right? I can do the carpentry, I can do the financial accounting. It's a lifelong project. You have to make it clear between both of you, like we're going to build something out of this relationship. Like that's the point, I believe. Like two people coming together because there's something to be built, right? It's not just for fun. You're trying to build something out of your union, and that thing, right, hopefully will produce even greater fruits for your children or like for generations to come or whatever. If you enter into a relationship that way, and both parties like look at it that way, I think like when you now start to look at like the like all the adversities and whatever, it will become much more practical to give a reason to stay, right? If okay, let's imagine Ami and one. Okay, let me not say Ami. Let's imagine two people decided to get married, right? Two scenarios now. They decided to get married because all our colleagues are getting married. God when man, like sir, we've gone on 3 dates. I like you, I like the vibe, blah blah blah. They got married somehow, right? And maybe at that point it was genuine, but like emotions can lead you astray. And then these other guys, right? They're like, look, I'm going this direction, and I feel like you are the person that like also wants to go in this direction, but I feel like I need you so much in this project that I'm going to, right? And we can complement each other that way. Let's take 3 years into the marriage, these two scenarios, right? If the guy in these ones that like God when category, right? They married because everybody around them was marrying. This guy decides to get married, number one, and he starts 3 years in, he starts beating the wife. Why? Because his colleagues are giving him tough time at work. Then he comes back, his wife is nagging, blah blah blah. Why? Because he has not allowed the wife to work. He was saying, "No, I'll provide." Then he now starts shouting. From shouting, now start beating the wife. This other guy, right? They entered into a lifelong project. Because they entered with an understanding that both of them are going somewhere, right? I think when there's a problem, the wife even has an incentive to say, "Oh my baby, look, I entered this because we agreed we are going somewhere." Like the energy that will put into like it will change entirely, in my opinion, right? How you look at that problem, because it's like, okay, this is a problem that is now like a roadblock for where we're going to. How can we together get this out of the way? So instead of resorting to, like the beatings or whatever, I think it's more constructive based. Obviously, there'll be the arguments sometimes, and there might be the cases whereby you might near beatings and whatever. But I think the way they will talk to themselves will be different, because the first example, they don't have anything to actually talk about. Like, what is it that actually brought them, like what to keep them in the relationship? There's really nothing substantial that will allow them to maintain and remain in that relationship at the end of the day. But this second group have a reason why. That why is so strong, right? And can push them even beyond adversities. And like at the point, I think in relationship, adversities are the things, in my opinion, right, that will either help you to reinforce like your commitment, or it will be the thing that will help you to go apart like in future terms. So if an adversity comes, like let's imagine the two of them are having financial problems, right? If the wife now says, okay, like of the company, the ones that have vision and whatever, say, okay, like I will send my children, for example, we'll send our children to go and stay with their grandparents, and I'll take a walk for 1 year, right? And we help with the finances until you get back on your feet. Like, you start looking for how to solve the problem, but in the other one, you start looking for how to get out of the relationship in the first place. I don't know if that is clear. So I just, in my opinion, to avoid all of that, right, just get into it with somebody that actually knows where you're going, and like you said, you know where you're going, and it's based on a destination, or at least like a path that both of you are interested in. Don't just do it because you want to do it or you want to have like a partner. Like, I believe a life single is much more better than a life that you just enter into a relationship with somebody and then there's no reason for it in the first place, because you just cause more problems to yourself. Like, you cause more anxieties, you cause more worries, and you cause more challenges to your own family self, right? Because if you start beating you now, what do you say, right? So you have now dragged your family to start caring about you. Like, when they now look at you, you have big guy or whatever. Like, you brought that upon yourself because you did not think through what you are getting into at the end of the day.
You don't do well.
So I feel like, say you go open a marriage counseling organization.
I don't
Nirrupters counseling unit. But yeah, that was really good. That was really good. I think it will be safe to just ask, the final question here, because I feel like Musa already touched it kind of. So, which I'm just gonna ask. Obviously, Zunji, you have to answer, but you're not answering. You're answering plus in the past tense, as it were. So let me just start with Zunji as well. So, what do you think people are looking for in partners today, and what did you look for, like in your wife to be?
Zunji, wait till you see, my guy.
Okay, so for me as a spiritual person, what actually happened was I noticed that everything in my life was working well, but that relationship timber was headache. Okay, what I mean was, I was just jumping from one relationship to another. So it was like, this guy don't turn false prophet. You tell this lady, we're going to spend the rest of our life together. You can't clash. So I now said, so I decided to go and pray. I said, God is my father. And sometimes if fathers travel or if you go out, they bring gifts for their children. Just say, take this shirt, I bought it for you. God, you now is my father. Give me a gift of a wife. That's what I just. I don't think as I prayed that prayer, it just happened. Snap. No, 1 year, nothing. 2 years, and then the truth was, ladies were flocking. I finished school, then foot me so a prospective engineer. Elder sister, everywhere we go, she just be introducing me. Meet my younger brother. He had just finished electrical electronics engineering. Yeah, that's but I just told God that if in case my wife comes, in case you are ready to give me, please just show me a sign. Let me know. So while everybody was asking, we were saying, I want a God-fearing lady. My only two things I desired was, I want to marry a lady that loves people. Let her be, as in, have you seen ladies that she can enter kitchen and just cook for like 60 people? Not because you're trying to turn her into a cooking machine, but she wants to take care of people. Or somebody who, you just say that somebody is sick, or just say, hey, so how do we take care of that? Somebody who loves people. That was my criteria. And then secondly, a lady who is teachable, because it will take humility for you to step down so that you learn. So I know that you can't, these two things, you can't love people if you don't love God, and you can't be teachable if you're not humble enough. So that was my criteria. So I noticed that a lot of people have like pages of just in conclusion, pages of their spec, but they fail to understand that really, for the originator of this thing called love is God, because God is love, and the only way you can actually even define love, you must define it from God's perspective. So I don't know what many people claim they are feeling in the world, but if you truly want to fall in love or to meet the right person, you must go to the person who is the source in order to, and in his own eye view, in his own lenses. If I stand to be corrected, just like Ami said, it's like 0.1% feeling, but we see that in the world today it's like 95% feeling. So it's how I feel. This is how I feel. So it means the day you don't feel anything for that person again, or you wake up at the left side of the bed, it means that relationship is over. But God is not. He does not work by feelings. He works by his purpose, his agenda, what he desires to do in a particular life, in a particular home, in a particular individual. So I think we should, it's time for us to wear new lenses. It's time for this generation to pull off their lenses that are blur and wear new lenses and look at love from the point of view of God.
All right. Ami?
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you, Mr. Sir.
You should answer now.
What? I'll ask her last thing. What I know they put me, please, you're trying to put them spot. What does thou find? What findeth thou? What do they find? What are you looking for in a partner, a potential partner?
This question gets passcode.
You get password. If you don't get the password, I know if you answer.
I beg you. To be okay, it's fine. I'll just say mine and then. Yeah. So I think obviously for me, no brainer. I feel like when people say God fearing, right? It's bare minimum for me. In my opinion, I think it's bare minimum to say, I want to be with someone that's God fearing. I think that's bare minimum. Like in my opinion, I feel like being God fearing is what gets, like, okay, for instance, you have minimum requirements for a job, right? They say, if you want this job, you have to have this. That doesn't mean you're getting the job. It only gets you through to the interview, right? It only gets you through the door. It doesn't guarantee you the job. So I feel like for me, like, God fearing is just honestly bare minimum. But what I would say is just definitely somebody who has an intimate relationship with God, and whose relationship with God translates into how they live life, how they see, how they treat people. Very importantly, someone with a strong resolve to walk in his calling. And when I say calling, I don't mean like pastor or whatever. Just somebody who is bold enough to dare to do what God has committed into his hands. Definitely somebody who is kind, of course. If you love God, you will be kind. If the love of God has found expression in you, you will be kind. That's a given. Somebody who has his own thing going on and who is not trying to bounce off, like who is not trying to bounce off of my own achievements, if that makes sense. I think that's it for me. Oh, finally, please be tall, because I'm short, right? For the sake of our children, I beg, I dey beg, I dey plead.
And God will answer the desires of your heart.
Amen. Big amen. Believed and received in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Okay, Musa Obed, can you answer the question now? So we can, and then you can just close us out.
No more. You know if you ask Zumji, if not. No, but I think it's interesting. Let's ask Zumji. Zumji, for you,
Yes. Yes.
What was it that attracted you to your fiance? They're going to get married to like in a week's time.
Okay.
I know you felt like you wanted someone that cares for people. So,
yeah.
Like that's one you said. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else?
Okay. Okay. So particularly for her,
yes, and I do actually you go marry now. So I mean, get another one.
She's a nurse. So I asked her a question one day, and I said, what's your calling? What's your purpose? What do you think? Then she now said something like, then she's a nurse and she's a midwife. So then she was a midwife working to an NGO in BBC. So she said, do you know what it means for God to send a seed from eternity and then you are the first person to receive it? I said, do you know what that means? It means you can prophesy the destiny of that child into being. Do you know what it means for? I was like, okay. And that thing just hit me. Pop. I was like, this is somebody who knows where she's going. This is somebody who has even if not a complete view, but an idea of why she's here. And that's for me. It's because if you are purpose driven and you're visionary, it's actually pulls my attention. So sometimes it's like I automatically just become your friend, and that was what drew my attention towards. And I knew that if we start talking, I'll not be talking in limbo. I will not talk, and then somebody is like, "What do you say? What are you doing?" We will be talking almost on the same plane. So that was what actually drew my. And then she has open teeth, so I don't know. I'm crazy about open teeth. I just don't know. So.
Oh. I know, like there was a point in Nigeria. I don't know. I mean, if you remember, there was a point that like open teeth was like if you not even have open teeth, don't even enter the market. Like everybody was.
Oh my god, yes.
I was like, I didn't understand the craze. Honestly, I was like,
my god,
what sorcery is occurring? Anyways, so thank you guys for this conversation.
Okay, can I just say a word finally?
Oh yeah, no.
While I was thinking about this podcast today, and I remember that as in Nirruption, we have three major core values: and love, excellence, and patriotism. And I believe that the reason why the visionary of Nirruption, God laid that in his heart is because there's so much deficit of love, even in this. They claim they are in love, but we're having a lot of deficit of it, and that is why we are facing some of the issues we are facing today. You just go out of the street, you see it literally on the streets, where they go to the ATM, people are fighting each other, and you're like, the Nigerians really love each other. So for me, I feel not just love for relationship because it's Valentine, but I think people need to be recalled back. Love for humanity, love for oneness, love for family. We are Africans. We have a way of treating each other. Africans are one of the people that can get into a cab and somebody's transport is not complete and they just say, how much is remaining? 1,000, I'll pay it. We need to go back to those moments again. Let the seed of love be ignited in our hearts again, because it's true love that will conquer and be united in us, Nigerians.
The prophets for this guy.
Just they preach today. Now, wow. Second service.
Grace come out now.
I'll give offering.
I beg.
All right. I mean,
Yeah,
cool.
but that was G. Thank you for sharing. Yep. All right, guys. This has been great. Thank you so much for joining, for contributing. I think Kenneth had to go. But yeah, this has been good. I've learned, personally, and I hope, we've all picked up a thing or two. All right, guys, that's all on this episode. Happy Valentine's Day in advance. Whatever you do, focus on your life, focus on your future. Money is important, so make money. Spend Valentine's Day responsibly, whatever that means to you. And we will see you in our next episode. Bye.
Bye. Happy Valentine's.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Happy married life in advance. I'm so happy for
you. Maybe next
Thank you.
You could tell us 1 year anniversary how it was and all of that.
That I can see now. That's thank you.
All right, no.
Alrighty. Have a great week, guys. Bye.